My name is Franny Shepard-Bates. I'm the director of Othello, and I have been involved with Waterworks on and off for 11 years. The thing I love about Othello is that it's so real, that it's Shakespeare, and so there is still a beauty to the language, but there's also a roughness and an ugliness to the language that is reflected in the story and the characters. And so even when things are really great, for about 2 minutes at the top of the play, then they get really, really bad in ways that we can recognize from our own lives.
I never knew how complex and layered so many of these characters were, and especially Cassio, who I feel honored to get to play, because he's such a faulty person, but so are all of us. I highly identify with him and his struggles, and it's really, he's a really intense but freeing character to get to play, because he's so evocative emotionally.
Othello has a lot to do with otherness, and that is what is at the core of the play. That when people are displaced, or when they feel like they do not belong to the society in which they live, it can make them very vulnerable, or it can make them very angry. And that really is what's at the core of this play, where Othello, who is such an outsider in this Venetian society and in this military where he's risen to a very high rank in a way that there's no backstory in the play, and you wonder, how did he do that? He's a really great soldier. And yet there's this resentment from Iago and from others in the play, and this not being able to let go of the fact that he's still not from here, he's still not one of us.
I have not deserved this.
My lord, this would not be believed in Venice, though I should swear I saw it.
It is very much. Make her amends, she weeps.
Oh, devil.
I'm very excited to be playing this role. It's truly a gift. I've never seen him like this before. He's a character that you don't know where he's from. You don't know where he's from, but you see every color of him. You see him funny, you see him sarcastic, you see him angry, of course. You see him in love. What more could an actor ask for? Every color. He goes from white hot to white cool, or better yet, from white cool to white hot.
You've got all these characters in the play who are not like other people. Desdemona, who, does this really impulsive thing in marrying this man who is also an outsider running away from home. You wonder what drives her to do that. Most young women in that time, in that place, wouldn't do that.
This is my first time with Waterworks. It's so exciting. And I love Desdemona so much because of her strength. She encounters so many obstacles with Othello right off the bat, and where I think most people would probably give up or step back, she doesn't back down. She's always moving towards him, and she looks everyone very square in the face.
Swear thou art honest.
Heaven doth truly know.
Heaven doth know that thou art false as hell.
To whom? My lord, with whom? How am I false?
Oh, Desdemona, away, away, away!
And there's a lot of innocence in her, and I think she challenges sort of the dishonesty of other people just by being.
You have Emilia eventually breaking free of whatever's holding her back and telling the truth, even though she knows it's going to get her killed.
And Emilia, Franny, the director, keeps calling her the true hero of the show, because at the end of the play, she's the one that blows the lid off everything and uncovers Iago's villainy. Helps Othello to realize that Iago was behind the whole thing.
Chide, I have a thing for you.
You have a thing for me. It is a common thing.
Huh?
To have a foolish wife.
Iago and Emilia have a very distraught relationship, I guess is the way I would call it. It's not happy. It's not a happy marriage.
Have you not sometimes seen a handkerchief spotted with strawberries in your wife's hand?
I gave her such a one. 'Twas my first gift.
Well, I know not that, but I saw such a handkerchief. I'm sure it was hers.
You have Iago feeling so resentful of the fact that he cannot get what he wants in the way that he wants it, in the way that he feels that he deserves it. And so he becomes really eaten up with this desire to get back at all these people, not just Othello, but also Cassio, also maybe his wife, to really just take this rich boy Rodrigo and use him as a pawn to make all these things happen. because this society is so classist that somebody, Cassio, who is not qualified for the promotion Iago wants, is going to get it anyway because he is of a higher class.
I think all the ladies in the audience should listen to Desdemona and Emilia on stage together. And Desdemona asks Emilia just kind of, why? Like, why is this happening to us? And Emilia explains why women have, the same urges as men, and yet there's this double standard and so much pain coming from that. And they share this moment of understanding each other completely and each other's positions as women. And it's such a strong, beautiful moment that resonates today.
That's something I find really compelling about the play, that there really are no villains, there really are no heroes. It's just a bunch of people who are very, very human, either messing with each other in these really terrible ways or not realizing that they're being messed with.